When I first started out in photography, there was one thing I wanted to know. What can I do to make my photography just a little bit better? Just a little bit better. Help push me down that road of progress just a little bit further. If you search for an answer to that on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of different answers because everybody has a different perspective. I think what makes my perspective so unique is the fact that I'm just transitioning from being a beginner photographer to maybe more of a little bit of an intermediate photographer. In other words, I just walked through that mess. I just got through it. And, I'm transitioning into the next phase of my photography. And I'd say, the next phase has a lot to do with composition and technical things, the way that you're putting the photograph together. In the beginner stages, it's a lot of just the basics. And the one tip that I got that really made my photography a lot better is coming up in a second. Print your work. It's the number one tip, I promise you, or it was for me anyway. When I started printing my work, you start seeing things that you didn't see before. In other words, when you're taking the photo and then editing the photo and all of that, it's all on a screen. But when you print your work and you make it tangible and you can just really take it all in, there's nowhere to hide. You can't hide your mistakes. You can't hide technical issues. You can't hide compositional issues. You can't hide color issues. You can't hide white balance. You can't hide. It's right there. And it just stares at you. And if there's something that's incorrect on it, it's just yelling at you and screaming, fix me. It's very intense when you start printing your work. And, if you don't have a printer, I really suggest you go to like Adorama and, have them print it for you and mail it to you. The thing that I'll say about mail ordered prints is you don't have any control over it. Now, you submit your order. It tells you whether the resolution's high enough or not. And then 4 or 5 days later, it comes in the mail. And it is what it is. And a lot of times you'll get corners that are dinged up. You just get, it just doesn't look right on the paper or whatever. When you print your own work, you have a lot more control over all that. It's a new perspective when you print your work. And it's a perspective that it amplifies your flaws, in everything to do with that photograph, whether it's your f-stop, your shutter speed, your color, your white, anything to do with that photo, the flaws in the process are going to just be amplified. And now it works the other way. So, and this is probably the thing that I think teaches you the most, is it amplifies what you did well. So, if you did a really good job with the colors or the composition, it screams at you. Printing can be very expensive, especially if you're talking a higher end printer, with the ink and the cost of the printer. It can be very expensive. It's definitely more expensive, I think, than it is to get your prints, send them out to a different mail services and have them send them back to you. But there's just something about having all the control over the print, practicing getting the print that you're looking for, getting the color that you're looking for, going back and tweaking the image. Yes, you can waste a lot of paper and a lot of ink doing this, but it gives you a new perception of the photo. It allows you to move forward in the next photo that you're taking to remember all of that. And it really does help you remember all the issues or all the flaws that you've had on previous photos. If you want to be the best photographer you can be, you have to print your photos. You just do. We live in a digital age. Everything's digital. So why? What can I do with these prints? It's simple. Put them on your walls, give them to family or friends for Christmas presents, sell them. If you have some that's really good, sell them. It's not a whole lot of stress involved. You just make a page on your website that has, the photos that you want to list for sale, photos that you've tried to print, you've gotten it right, and they're worthy of that type of, transaction. You don't want to just start selling everything, because not every photo is a great print. And so the prints that you can sell are the ones that are just, they magnify everything great that you did with that scene. Go to a local restaurant. Ask them if they'll display your work on the wall with your name and a price. They'll get you a lot of exposure, and it could possibly earn you some money. Printing services are definitely cheaper in my opinion. The one problem, and it just got me, I don't know if it's the same for you or not, is I always had the ability to, ask a print service like Adorama or Shutterfly or whoever to print it and send it back to me in the mail. I just found that I didn't do it that often. I really didn't. When you're in your studio, your office, or wherever it is that you're processing your work, it's just something nice about, I feel like printing that. Let me see how that looks on some 17 by 22. And when you do that, what it has you doing is going back into the photo, doing some real fine-tuned editing, and getting things just perfect, which is really good for your photography skills. And then when you get it right, man, it's just a great feeling to see it come out of the printer just perfect. Another major reason you should be printing is it makes you a better editor. Like when you're in your photo, you're processing it, whatever program you're using. When you're processing a photo after you've started doing a lot of printing, it's just new. It's a new dynamic, and you start looking at things that you didn't look at before, things that you've had to correct in photos that you've printed. And so, that's a real leg up on a lot of people, because most people probably don't print their photos anymore. Most people are just leaving them digital. And that's because they don't see the value in the print. But the value in the print is the experience and the skill that you gain from it. It gives you a sense of awe. It brings the scene truly to life. And I think that's because we're scrolling so fast anymore. It's just, you see picture after picture after picture, but when you see a print, it's so much more real. It's big. It brings the scene to life. And that is really what photography is all about. It's about bringing that emotion that you had when you were there, capturing that scene, about bringing that to the viewer. You gotta print your photos, guys. You just do. It'll be worth it. I promise. Start with a printing service. You don't have to go out and buy a high-end printer. The home printers have come a long way, though. A long way. If you get a home printer, make sure you pay attention to the resolution of the DPI. The higher the DPI, the better your prints are gonna look. Some printers aren't made for photography, so you really need to stick with a printer that's made for photography. And they have some definitely entry-level, devices that are very good for that. So I wanna really encourage you. If you haven't started printing, print. You definitely want to print. It's gonna make you a much better photographer. I really appreciate you guys sticking around for the whole video. It means a lot to have your support. Share the video with your family, your friends, Facebook page, and everywhere else. Help me grow my reach. I greatly appreciate it and be indebted to you. I can't wait to see you on the next video. You guys have an awesome week.